Imagine living in a time of incredible upheaval and mystery, where the mighty Roman Empire had just crumbled around 476 AD, and the world seemed to be starting anew. This era, known as the Dark Ages, or the Early Middle Ages, stretched until about 1000 AD. In Britain, it was a period of dramatic transformation and constant uncertainty. With the Romans gone, the land was a battleground for various tribes and emerging kingdoms, each vying for power and control. Life in Dark Age Britain was tough. The collapse of Roman rule meant that many of the advanced systems, like roads, baths, and central heating, fell into disrepair. People had to adapt to a more rustic and self-sufficient way of living. Most people lived in small villages or rural areas. They relied heavily on farming for their food. Families would grow crops like wheat and barley and keep animals such as sheep, pigs, and cattle. Life was centered around the seasons, with planting in the spring and harvesting in the fall. Homes were simple, usually made of wood and thatch. They had 1 or 2 rooms, and the whole family, including animals, often shared the space. Can you imagine the chaos and smell? Despite the hardships, there were also bright spots in Dark Age Britain. The period saw the rise of many legendary figures and stories, such as King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. These tales have inspired countless books, movies, and TV shows. Religion played a big role in people's lives. Christianity spread throughout Britain during this time, largely thanks to missionaries like St. Patrick and St. Augustine. Many churches and monasteries were built, which became centers of learning and culture. Education was rare, and most people couldn't read or write. However, monks in monasteries kept knowledge alive by copying manuscripts and preserving ancient texts. These religious centers were vital for the cultural and intellectual life of the time. Another interesting aspect of Dark Age Britain was the constant threat of invasion. Viking raids were common, and these fierce warriors from Scandinavia would attack coastal settlements, plundering and causing chaos. The Vikings, though feared, also brought new influences in trade to Britain. They settled in many areas, and their culture mixed with the local customs, leaving a lasting impact on British society. Trade was another key part of life. Even though the Roman Empire had fallen, trade routes still existed. People traded goods like pottery, jewelry, and even exotic items like silk and spices from far-off lands. One fascinating aspect of the Dark Ages is the art and craftsmanship. The period produced stunning works like the Sutton Hoo treasures, intricate jewelry, and detailed carvings. These items give us a glimpse into the rich culture and skills of the people. Law and order were quite different back then. Without a strong central government, local lords or chieftains ruled their territories. Disputes were often settled through personal combat or by paying fines, known as weregild. Health and medicine were also quite rudimentary. People relied on herbal remedies and the knowledge of local healers. Superstitions and beliefs in magic were common, and many illnesses were attributed to evil spirits or divine punishment. Life expectancy was low, and many people didn't live past their 30s. Childbirth was especially dangerous for women. Despite these challenges, communities were tight-knit, and people relied on each other for support and survival. So, what was life like in Dark Age Britain? It was a time of great change, struggle, and resilience. While the period is often seen as dark and chaotic, it also laid the foundations for the rich tapestry of British history that followed. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing content. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you find most fascinating about Dark Age Britain? See you next time on Celestial Narratives.